stuff lemon of go with the flow. But people will say, what did George Lucas know? Was he really on the good team for a little while? Was it all part of a not milk plan? It's fun to discuss that. It's irrelevant to what we need to do for ourselves. It doesn't matter, but it's fun. I love talking about that. What did George Lucas really know? How long has the script been known about? Did he know in 1977 he would eventually be selling? Is it a long-term script? Okay, we'll talk about it some other time. I do like the topic, but let's get back to the main purpose here is the stuffed lemon or Humpty Dumpty of go with the flow, which is about intuition. And that's not just the day-to-day decisions or moment-to-moment decisions where we allow our gut feeling to help us out with the decision or inner tuning fork, but almost something for a 10 or 20 year period. Like, what are you guided to do? What are you called for to do in life? What is the flow telling you need to accomplish in your life while you're here? It's macro and micro at the same time. And it might be easier to analyze it from the other angle. What happens if you go against the flow? That's where you'll get nowhere. You will spin your wheels against the flow of a strong river. These forces, like a strong channel, a river, or a rip current, it exists in life. And the not milk has trained every one of us from birth to go against the flow, to be doing things, unless you're some NPC character and it's a different type of entity than we are, and we'll talk about that hopefully if I remember a little bit later. But if you're a real being here, it will do everything to get you to try to go against the flow, and you get nowhere. You have to kind of sense where you're being nudged. So all these terms that we talk about are all related. Go with the flow, inner tuning fork, gut feeling, inner knowing, all part of the same thing. How many areas of what we just talked about are developed by school? K through 12 schooling. How many are adequately developed by most parents? That's the problem. Mommy or daddy or teacher in 5th grade, when are you going to talk to me about the intuitions that I have? They're almost like a sixth sense, in a way, like a second sight, a ability to tap into the resonance of this world, or go with the flow, or to know instinctively when not to do things. When are you going to work on those abilities that I know I have latent inside me? 1st grade teacher, mommy or daddy? Oh boy, call social services. Child, are you talking about these sort of latent abilities and inner senses and tuning fork and knowing what to do instinctively? But if you can't even do your Common Core math properly, your teacher says you struggle with Common Core. Don't you think you should be able to master the mind control math before talking about these weird things and X-Men abilities? What, you some sort of mutant? You're going to just sense what to do in life in this comic book character stuff? Why don't you worry about your Common Core, your mind controlled math? Then we'll talk, son. I have so many personal examples of me believing this is what I'm supposed to do at this age, and this is what a respectable young man does, is trying to be a junior executive coming up through this insurance company. So many times looking back now, there was a little voice saying, this isn't right. But it was so squashed down, so duct taped the mouth over, that little voice. There was no inner tuning fork or inner knowing. You know how many examples I have where I
don't know if you can see the sparkles.
The flow, and I think my flow is probably a little bit different than most people or the NPCs around me, of course, but there's hundreds of examples where every time I'm supposed to do this, I know, and got into trouble or it failed. Here's a great example. Okay, 96 insurance company sends me out to Los Angeles. Started with the insurance company in 1993. Then I get a promotion, go to San Francisco. Okay, what is any young junior executive supposed to do with this disposable extra income? Well, of course, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Never felt right to me. The amount of failures that I picked, it was uncanny. I don't even know how to describe it. But this is what I'm supposed to do, logically, right? Everybody does stocks and bonds. Doesn't feel right, but what else am I supposed to do? This has to work. This is what I'm supposed to do via this little guidebook. That what's a young person trying to make their way up promotion after promotion in an insurance company supposed to do? The amount of failures, it's like a bad storybook. You wouldn't even believe me. I went out and said, well, I don't like these mutual funds. I'm going to pick individual stocks. People say, if you pick just 8 stocks, you're as diversified as any mutual fund. Oh, really? Let's see how diversified. I picked, I need an insurance company in my portfolio of diversification. You need a food company, a tech company, a transportation company. I picked AIG. It went down It went down 95%. I only had $5,000. It went to like my 5,000 went to $800. I picked Boston Market or Boston Chicken. I would have picked a food company. Now they didn't all happen at the same time, but the amount of stuff that went almost to zero that I picked, thinking I need to be in stocks and bonds, it's almost like the world was screaming at me, "This isn't for you, asshole." It was a few years earlier, just $2,000 in Boston Market went to 20 cents a stock. I lost 99% of my investment. There were others on this here. Lucid Technologies. Lucid Technologies for me went down almost 95%. There was I picked two gaming companies over the years in terms of stock. One was Electronic Arts. Now, if you pick a not milk darling, it's going to do pretty well. Like if you pick Intel, just because a real person picked it, they're not going to screw over all of Intel just to screw over Matt. But I picked this other gaming company that I thought was up and coming, went to zero. I mean, look, I didn't have a lot of money in these things, but I thought this is ridiculous. If I pick 10 stocks, 2 or 3 would go to zero. Now I've heard people have losses. I might be down 8% or whatever. And I haven't been in the market, of course, for 15 years. And I am not ever going to go against the flow.
Can't open that.
Intuitions that we all have
shut.
had been developed by the people around me, parents, schooling. First off, the first conversation would have been, just getting even involved in this sort of this, to me, what we say so tainted Wall Street, does it even feel right? And if I was thinking that type of inner knowing had merit at the time, if these abilities had been developed in me as they've developed in no younger people, I would have said it doesn't feel right at all. Then somebody, if I had any advice, I said, maybe you shouldn't get involved with it then. Don't put a penny into stocks. What does your inner knowing tell you? What does your heart tell you? At least then after the first one went to zero, you'd say, okay, does this feel right? No, it didn't feel right from the start. I don't think this is for you. Let's just not throw throw good money after bad. But no, I have to follow the script. The world tells me that stocks and bonds are the way. Goes to zero. Goes down 95%. Goes down. I didn't even think that this inner knowing or inner tuning fork or this voice inside, there was nothing there to pay attention to. This needs to be. I can't give advice to parents. I don't have.
I'm trying the broccoli. Never tried this one before. It's supposed to be detoxification. Something about the sulfur or something necessary for detoxification. Some people were saying like you should drink Epsom salts. I don't know about that. Back on the NAC as well, and the liposomal glutathione. And I've never really noticed like an obvious benefit from the NAC, to be honest. And that the liposomals are they're probably about £1 per pill. They're really expensive. Not really worth it unless you're really desperate and you want to try something different. My legs really, really hurt. My leg muscles really, really hurt. But other than that, I feel mostly okay. I just have had a fever last night, which could be detoxification. I'm fine with everything in this room, but as soon as I read this book, the toxins affect me from the ink and stuff. Same with my sketch pad. Same with my gaming chairs. Each one seems different. One has more of a smell to it, and the other one is more like a mold, I think. There's more of a mold issue with it, because they were in different rooms and things. Had one of them in here, and the other one was in the summer house. So the one that's in the summer house could pick up more mold. That was just a really cool passage in that book, the last one. He talks about Rudolf Steiner in this book, which is interesting because I'm thinking that's where they got the name for Steins Gate from, which I may have said before is like a really was a really popular, really good anime for me like a few years ago, and you might think it's just entertainment, but I suspect there's more to it than that.